What scares you the most? Demon children, serial killers, aliens invading your home. Get ready to experience the greatest Halloween movies. To make movie night as smooth as possible, here are top 5 new movies to prepare for Halloween. In the movie No One Will Save You from 2023, there's a lady named Brynn who lives in her old home and feels really sad because her mom and her best friend Maud passed away. To deal with her sadness, she builds a small town model in her living room. Something happened in the past that made everyone in the town dislike Brynn, so she's always anxious and keeps to herself. One night, she wakes up and finds an intruder in her house, but this intruder turns out to be a humanoid alien. Brynn tries to escape, but the alien chases her. When the alien uses its mind powers to control her, Brynn accidentally stabs it in the head with a piece of her model town's school bell tower. This makes the alien let her go. Brynn realizes that all her electronic stuff doesn't work because of the alien. She leaves her car and the alien's body behind and goes to the police station. There, she meets Maud's parents, who are also the chief of police and his wife. Maud's mom is really mad at Brynn and even spits on her. So, Brynn decides to run away. While she's on a bus leaving town, she sees that there are other people on the bus who are controlled by other aliens, and they try to stop her. She finds an empty church and goes to Maud's grave, but she sees that some people are controlled by creepy tentacle creatures under their skin. Later that night, a strange light takes the alien's body out of Bryn's house, and she has to fight off 2 more creatures. After a tough fight with a smaller alien, she sticks it through a wardrobe with a broken mop handle and closes the door on its head. She tries to escape her house, but an alien-controlled man grabs her and takes her to a flying saucer with a tractor beam. Just when she's about to be lifted up, she kicks the man into the beam and runs away. A big alien follows her and attacks her, but she tricks it into her station wagon and causes a fire by piercing the gas tank. A flying saucer puts out the fire with a ray, but the creature inside is burned to death. Back in her home, a humanoid alien uses its mind powers to throw her through a wall and captures her with a red ray. The alien makes a tentacled creature appear and forces it into Bryn's mouth. She has a crazy hallucination where everything is fine, and Maud is alive, but she manages to get rid of the tentacled thing. The alien makes a flying saucer levitate and creates a copy of Brynn with the tentacled creature. The fake Brynn chases the real one into the woods, stabs her, but Brynn kills the fake with a box cutter and escapes to a deserted road. There, she meets a giant alien and gets pulled into a flying saucer. Inside the saucer, Bryn's mind is probed by some humanoid aliens, and they make her remember the event that made everyone in her town turn against her. She had a fight with Maud in a field, and Brynn accidentally killed Maud with a stone. The aliens talk among themselves and then send Brynn back to Earth without the tentacled creature controlling her. Some time later, Brynn is living in her undamaged home. Everyone else in town is controlled by the aliens, but now they are all friendly with Brynn, which is very different from before the aliens came. Soix is a modern-day horror masterpiece. It's beautiful and brutal, and it's everything I've ever wanted in a Saw sequel. Kevin Groidert, who has been a pillar of the Saw franchise since the beginning, directs this one, and it's clear that he truly gets it. The traps are gruesome, inventive, and totally squirm-inducing, and Tobin Bell is at his sweetly tender best as John Kramer. Bell's chemistry with Shawnee Smith is still as real and heartbreaking as it was more than a decade ago, and their relationship is one of my favorites in cinema. Smith is as amazing as Amanda as ever, and her beauty will never cease to shine. Soix is everything a fan could ever want and then some. It's a genius concoction of mystery, emotion, and gory carnage that few movies today even dare try. There are all sorts of Easter eggs and callbacks to the original movie, and there's an awesome mid-credits scene. In short, I came, I saw, it conquered, and I can't wait for what the series holds in store next. Overall rating: 5 out of 5 stars. Must see for Saw fans and horror fans in general. Soix is a horror movie that takes place between the events of Saw and Saw 2. It follows John Kramer, the Jigsaw Killer, as he travels to Mexico for an experimental cancer treatment. However, He discovers that the treatment is a scam, and he and his apprentice, Amanda Young, set out to punish the con artists responsible. The movie features a number of gruesome traps, and it culminates in a two-person waterboarding trap that gives each person the ability to pull a lever that allows the other to come up for air while they drown. John and Carlos, an innocent boy who John met before his surgery, are strapped into the trap, and it's up to Carlos to realize what's going on and save John. In the end, Cecilia, one of the con artists, kills her lover, Parker, and survives the gas by sticking her head out the air hole. However, she is seemingly trapped in the room with no way to escape. John, Amanda, and Carlos leave the warehouse together, and John gives Carlos the bag of defrauded money as a gesture of goodwill. The movie also has a mid-credits scene that shows how John deals with Henry, another character from the movie. The sequence shows Henry waking up in a trap as John and Detective Mark Hoffman, another of John's disciples, walk into the room. John notes that Henry no longer has the massive stomach scar he showed him from his supposed life-saving surgery, and the game begins. Overall, Sox is a gruesome and suspenseful horror movie that is sure to please fans of the franchise. There are numerous commendable aspects to the film. The location were impeccably chosen. The art direction and set design were impressive, and the storytelling exhibited an abundance of diversity. Notably, the African-American spiritual priestess left a lasting impression, recounting her decision to abandon her medical practice in favor of concocting potions from roots and performing fire-breathing tricks, even spitting alcohol into an open flame, all while donning her distinctive attire. However, it was the character of the priest that proved most objectionable. His performance was subpar, rendering him thoroughly unlikable and entirely implausible as a clergyman. To compound matters, when he eventually joined the exorcism, which amounted to little more than a spiritual free-for-all, he began reciting the Roman ritual seemingly from memory. And Aud's portrayal, on the other hand, was a testament to her exceptional acting skills. Her naturally careworn face added authenticity to her character. A former nun who effortlessly wielded the Bible and recited the Roman exorcism ritual from memory, though it left us questioning whether she was merely improvising. As for the born-again minister, the role had the potential to shine, especially if the filmmakers had opted for campy, Tammy Faye Bakker-style flamboyance with heavy makeup and opportunity for enjoyable campiness that went untapped. At times, it was difficult not to wonder if this film had initially been conceived as a standalone horror franchise and was later transformed into a sequel to one of the greatest horror films of all time. In 1956, Father Noirot and Jacques performed their daily chores in their church in Tarascon, France. While investigating a disturbance, Noirot is raised into the air, set on fire, and burned to death before a terrified Jacques. Following the events at St. Cartha's Monastery, Sister Irene now serves in a convent in Italy. Maurice works at a boarding school in France, where he has befriended a young Irish student named Sophie and her teacher and mother, Kate. Irene has a vision of Maurice asking her to save him. She is dispatched by the cardinal to investigate a series of deaths across Europe, attributed to the demon Valak, due to her previous experience with the demon. She travels to Tarascon with Sister Deborah, a young novice who expresses her difficulty in accepting miracles, such as the real presence of Christ in the Eucharist. Meanwhile, a delivery girl witnesses Valak talking to a possessed Maurice before Valak kills her. At Tarascon, Irene is haunted by Valak and has a strange vision. Deborah tells Irene that she received Noirot's rosary from Jacques. At school, Sophie is bullied by classmates and locked in the deconsecrated sealed-off chapel. The bully points out the goat on the mosaic window, claiming the devil appears when the sun shines through and turns the goat's eyes red. One night, the headmistress encounters a possessed Maurice and is killed by Valak. Irene and Deborah travel to Pilatus Papes and meet with a librarian. He explains that Valak was an angel rejected by God, and the emblem on Noirot's rosary is the family crest of Saint Lucy, who was martyred by a pagan. Though she was set on fire, she miraculously did not burn. Her eyes were gouged out, but her family recovered them. The librarian suggests the demon is killing Saint Lucy's descendants because it wants this powerful relic, last known to be stored in a former monastery turned winery. The winery then became the present-day boarding school. At the school, Irene and Deborah face off against a fully possessed Maurice. Sophie shows the women the mosaic goat in the chapel, and they use a flashlight to make its eyes glow red. The red light acts as a laser, pointing to where the eyes of Saint Lucy are buried. Irene finds the relic and the mosaic goat vanishes, reappearing in real life as a demonic creature. As the goat attacks the students, Maurice attacks Irene, chases Sophie, and causes the bell tower to collapse. Deborah admits to Irene that she now has faith. Irene uses the relic against Maurice, but he grabs it, causing Valak to appear. Similar to Father and Warrant, Valak lifts Irene in the air and sets her ablaze. Irene surprisingly does not burn, and subsequently realizes she is a descendant of Saint Lucy, able to harness the same power associated with the relic. Irene and Deborah pray the words of institution used in Christian celebrations of the Eucharist, and the old barrels of wine in the room become the blood of Christ from their belief. As the blood soaks Valak, the demon is damned back to hell. The next morning, Irene meets with Maurice, who is seemingly cured. Irene, however, is worried as Maurice leaves with Sophie and Kate. In a post-credits scene, Ed and Lorraine Warren answer a call on their telephone about a haunting. Michael Chaves, who directed The Conjuring 3, made me worried about whether this movie would be as good as the Conjuring and Annabelle movies. But it did meet my expectations, especially in how it looked and how the story was told. At first, the movie is a bit slow, but it gets more exciting as it goes on. There are some really scary moments, a spooky atmosphere, and the music adds to the suspense. The demon nun is still really terrifying. The story happens after the first movie. It's about what happens to Maurice after the demon takes control of him and how Sister Irene has to go back to the monastery to stop the scary thing. On August 6, the ship known as the Demeter runs aground on the shores of England. Amidst the wreckage, law enforcement discovers a ship captain's log. 4 weeks prior to this incident, the Demeter docks in Varna, Bulgaria, to load cargo destined for London. The shipment comprises several large wooden crates, brought in by local Romanians. The locals refrain from assisting with the cargo loading and bid the crew good luck. Clemens, a medical doctor, overhears the ship's need for crew members. He endeavors to persuade the crew of his value due to his medical expertise and education in astronomy at Cambridge. Although initially rejected by first mate Wojciech, Clemens saves the captain's grandson, Toby, from an accident involving the cargo. This action impresses Captain Elliot, leading to an invitation for Clemens to join the crew. While in the Aegean Sea, Clemens and crewmate Olgaran glimpse an enigmatic figure on deck amidst the fog. Subsequently, one of the crates falls, revealing a woman buried in dirt within. Recognizing her precarious condition, Clemens administers blood transfusions to combat an apparent infection. In the ensuing night, all the animals aboard the ship are slain, prompting the crew to dispose of them overboard due to fears of a rabies outbreak. Anna, the mysterious stowaway, awakens and warns Clemens about a local creature named Dracula in her village, to whom she was bound. Over the following nights, crew members on watch are systematically killed, with Olgaran surviving but displaying erratic behavior and needing restraint. One night, Olgaran breaks free, pursues Toby, and traps him with Dracula in the captain's quarters. As the crew rushes to rescue Toby, he gets bitten by Dracula. Come morning, Toby and Olgaran, both turned into vampires, meet their demise as they combust when exposed to sunlight. The remaining crew decides to drown Dracula and scuttle the ship with him on board to prevent his havoc in London. Captain Elliot and Wojciech lose their lives, but Anna manages to crush Dracula using part of the mast. Anna and Clemens jump overboard, assuming Dracula's defeat. Yet, Dracula breaks free and heads to London, just as the Demeter washes ashore. Anna confesses that she is transforming into a vampire due to the infection, and Clemens' blood transfusions have temporarily delayed her metamorphosis. To avoid becoming a monster like Dracula, Anna willingly meets her end in the sunlight as they reach the shore. Upon reaching London, Clemens spots Dracula camouflaged as a human and pledges to track him down. The final voyage presents some of the most impressive production values you'll encounter in a horror film this year. The soundtrack is enchanting and more eerie than ever. André Overitle's mastery of gradual, immersive horror takes center stage here, utilizing exquisite sets,